Hey everyone, thank you for joining us at ZuluNet. We've got a tactical overview of the game linked here, and we're just going to go kind of an in-depth analysis as to what happened in the game, the strategies we were thinking, the kind of go into our list. And we're just really going to try to do a deep dive here, and for those new players especially, see if we can't learn something today from what happened in this game. I've got Kyle here with me.
Yes, not Chris.
Not Chris. Yes, Chris is the one who played Orks in this. Pat here, I played Death Guard. Chris was unfortunately not able to make it with us, but Kyle is the other Ork player on the channel. And so, yeah, so we're going to go through this game. If you haven't seen the battle report, it's pretty short. Go back, watch it first, and then come back to this video so that you can understand exactly what is going on in the game. So Kyle, we're going to get into the deployment here later on. So your first takes as seeing this army, you've played at least a very similar list in Chris's with your Iron Hands. Yeah. How did that game go, and what is your take on like Chris's lists generally?
It's interesting playing a shooting army against his shooting orcs because he shoots better. Yeah. Or at least he did. And part of that is I tend to not bring a lot of anti-vehicle weapons to my lists with Space Marines. Especially, we were playing usually 1,000 points is typically what he and I play. So I don't usually have a lot of anti-vehicle in that. Like dedicated, like las cannons and such, I don't. So he's usually able to outshoot me, which is a very strange thing playing against orcs.
It's so backwards. Yeah, and totally, as you can already see, like he's got a ridiculous amount of vehicles going down, and and so basically, all right. So I'll go over my list real fast. It's actually really quite simple, which I think is one of the strengths of this list. So here we've got it's fluffy too. It's called Fluffy Fists in my battle scribe. Yeah. Anyways, so I've got 7 squads of 7 Plague Marines, and I have, so you can see them strewed about. There's like one here, and here, and here, and then one back here, and then I've got 3 Demon Princes, 2 with wings, and the one without wings is up here, and then I've got 2 Plague Surgeons, Malignant Plague Caster, and then the 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, as you see back here. And so my general idea with this list is to take advantage of the 5-up Feel No Pain, the Disgusting Resilience, and throw in those Plague Surgeons, which allow you to re-roll rolls of 1 on Disgusting Resilient rolls. And I kind of just spammed it, as you can see, with all the Plague Marines, and you know, I think it really worked, especially against this list, which depends on shooting at toughness 4 models, and Plague Marines are toughness 5. And so the combination of the toughness 5 with the Disgusting Resilience was huge, and I basically just built this impenetrable bubble around my 3 Demon Princes, which is really the star of the list. And he couldn't get rid of the bubble to do anything to my princes before the princes were able to get in and do what princes do best, and that's just tear things up.
That's one weakness of orcs, is they don't have any way to snipe characters.
Yeah.
So they can't deal with that. They just have to plow through.
Yeah. And so it worked out, I think, really, really well in this game, because he spent a lot of time focusing on like 2, maybe 3 units of Plague Marines, and not killing them at all. It's just like 7 Plague Marines, like those things get wiped out, or like Plague or Marine squads, infantry squads in this game get wiped out like that all the time, and he's just going to do it, and it was huge. So, and then this big orc blob. So the full lists are down in the description, so check that out for sure. But I know in the battle report, we really wasn't able to go through exactly where everything was. Also, quick note, Kyle wasn't even here when this game was played, and then so by the time that we're getting to this editing, there's some hiccups involved with the location of the files, if you will, and yeah. So this game was actually played a while ago. So, and this is pre Saga of the Beast Orks. However, the army is so weird that I don't think it really comes into play. But
no, probably not so much.
Yeah. But so I'm going to try to do my best to remember what happened when, like what stratagems and stuff. But really capturing that big strategy. Okay, so we've got his Ard case battle wagon here. And then he's got a unit of Boyz and a pain boy, I know. And I think there's something else, but a pain boy and a unit of Boyz in there for sure.
Right.
So truck here. Now this guy right here is important because he has his tank busters, yeah. And you had a tough time with his tank busters, right?
Yes. Tankbustas. Oh boy, they can really bring down a vehicle faster than you think they can.
Yeah. Well, especially with Chris's what he's got going on. You know, he's got bad moons, and then he has the showing off stratagem. Can you explain a little bit as what's going on with that?
So showing off lets you shoot again, essentially.
Yeah.
So he fires once, and then he fires again with the same unit. So he's re-rolling his ones. He's got Daka.
Mm-hmm.
So those Tankbustas, yeah, they're not hitting easily, but they're firing so much that they're getting a good number of shots through.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is with Orks, if you can sink the volume, if you can amass that volume, then you're gonna crush anything that gets in front of it, usually, right? Yeah. And so the thing is you know, so you said re-rolling ones, so that's from the bad moons, yeah. The culture, and so if you're not familiar with Orks, each culture, it's kind of like different Space Marine factions or chapters, excuse me, within the overall larger Space Marine faction. So get a little buff. This one, bad moons, they're kind of the shooting guys, so they re-roll ones on, is it to hits, right?
Yeah, hit rolls.
Reroll on to hits, and then also just a built-in orc thing, which happens so much, is Daka, which when they're shooting, every to hit roll of a 6 generates, you get to roll another, it makes another hit, basically.
No, you have to self-roll for it.
Right, yeah, so you, so you get, if you say you roll 20 dice and you get 5 6s, you get to roll 5 more dices, right? Dices. Yes, dice. And so anyways, but yeah, do you remember off the top of your head, what is the tank buster, like what's their weapon strength and kind of the profile for that?
No, I do not remember off the top of my head. Okay.
Well, we'll see if we can't track that.
I can look into it while we're chatting though.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's get back to that. So anyways, tank busters here. I knew about the tank busters because of what you told me, a little insider knowledge going on, and so I was eyeing these guys. All right, so he's got a Squiggoth with a Laba, and that kind of thing is so he's shooting the Laba the whole time. It's got a really long range, but other than that, I had no interactions with it the whole game, so I can't tell you that much about it. Super cool looking model though, so if you're all about that, totally get one because it's like legit. It's awesome. And then
Tankbustas.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready. So they just have rocket launches. It's just a 24-inch range, assault 1, strength 8, AP 2, but 3 damage. That's pretty big.
That's the one. Yes.
A flat 3 damage is where it's like, I'm sorry, that did what to me?
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I just know like the most important role when I'm playing Chaos and Obliterators is the damage roll, followed shortly by the AP roll. But the damage, because whatever you do sink, whatever you do get something through, what you're going to probably get something through, it's going to hurt, you know, and that's where you start seeing models, high wound models, just melt away. And when you spam them like he does and gets to shoot twice, hey yo. So we've got another battle wagon there. I'm pretty sure he's got some Boyz in there. It's very interesting that for a shooty army, he doesn't have Ludas.
Yes, I also find it's kind of understandable. Ludas have no protection really.
Yeah.
So you'd have to run multiple small units with them.
Yeah, it's kind of
okay.
like Devastators, or like for instance, every time I try and play Long Fangs for Space Wolves, they just get tore up because you can't protect them. I mean, like if you get a chance to shoot them, cool, and then they're probably going to be disappointing because they need multiple turns to really make them worth it, and they don't get multiple turns.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then another orc truck going back here, and he's got, as you can see, he's got some really crazy custom modeling stuff going on. It's really cool. But that's why you see a Land Raider there. Death Dread, what is it? A squig buggy?
Squig. Yeah.
Rocket truck squig buggy. Which is kind of a good, I think, a multi-use model, if I remember it correctly. Like it could hit decently well. Like it's a threat in close combat, and if you don't pay attention to it, it's obviously fast, and it's got some, I think it's got some like Gretchen shooters on there, so, and some like heavy, or what are they called? Heavy sluggers? Is that the big shoot? Yeah, heavy sluggers. But anyways, so, and then 4 Grot tanks. And so these guys, so they have a variable movement, right? It's like 3d6 movement.
Yeah.
And so they could go 3 inches or they can go 12. And, oh no, it might be 4d6. I think it's 4d6. So,
Grot tanks. They have a movement of, it's just 2d6.
2d6? Oh, okay.
3d6, that's a lot.
Okay.
Just 2d6.
2d6. All right. Oh yeah, for a movement. Yeah, I'm like mashing the movement and advancing, and never mind. Forget me. I'm dumb. So it's kind of interesting because they're 4 wound tanks, and you might be scoffing at that when sitting with your 16 wound Land Raider or something, but it's one of those things. It's kind of like my Plague Marines. Like it's not threatening enough for you to really pay attention to it, and so you don't pay attention to it, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, they have like 2 heavy sluggers a piece, and they're shooting with a 4-up ballistic skill because they're Gretchen shooting or Grot shooting and whatever they're called, and with a Bad Moon's army with Daka for orcs, like you end up like, wow, that's a lot of firepower actually. And the heavy sluggers, they're strength 5, so it didn't come into play that much because because I'm toughness 5. Obviously it's better than you're wounding on a 4-up, but whenever he was playing you, I'm sure that came into play.
Yeah.
Wounding on a 3-up instead of a 4-up against Space Marines, when you're shooting from an orc army and you have that massive that amount of firepower, makes a difference.
Yeah. So I actually kind of think he's kind of hobbled himself with those Grot tanks because they don't benefit from the clan culture.
Okay. Do they? Okay.
Any Gretchen unit, any unit comprised entirely of Gretchen, does not benefit from the clan culture.
Huh. Okay. I did not know that.
Only stratagems specific to them as well. So I think that's kind of an odd choice for him.
Oh, you know what? I think that, yeah, I remember him saying something. So he doesn't get the reroll 1s.
Correct.
But he still gets the Daka.
Yeah, that's army wide.
Okay. Yeah.
Restrict.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Being like, oh my gosh, he gets to reroll 1s, and he didn't. And then I asked him, and yeah. Okay. And then some Gretchen back here, and the other. So he's got some HQs kind of buried around here. Check out the list for the HQ. The one that's important is this guy right here. Let me. This guy right here. That is the Warlord, and it's cool. He took. What is the model from the
Sentinel?
Sentinel. There you go. Yeah, he took a Sentinel and threw his orc in there, and it's pretty cool. All right, the mission is cut off the head, and so it's kind of it's from the basic, no, not the basic rule. It's from the chapter approved 2018, and it's kind of interesting. So what it is you have one objective, and it says to place it right smack dab in the middle. And so Chris had set up this table before, and then
yeah, I was wondering about that. I was like, did you guys agree to this? Was this random?
Yeah,
because that That's really unfair.
Yeah. So, yes. And when I was editing it, I didn't think about it too much at the time because, I was just thinking about playing the 40K game that's going to last forever because it's 40K. And, I was like coming off of like a really bad day at work after this game, and so he set this whole table up before I even got there. And I was like, cool, before we even knew what the mission was, and rolled, got that one, and then he was like, oh, put it in the middle. And then Chris, he's like kind of like happy-go-lucky, like, all right, cool, yeah, puts it in the middle, like, man, that's gonna suck for me. And I'm like, oh yeah, man. And I didn't really think about it, like, all right, so 40K etiquette for those out there, if this ever happens, I was totally the D-bag in this situation, because I could have been like, all right, cool, I know that the rulebook says right in the middle of the table, but dude, you don't have a chance at getting that.
No.
Where I have 2 units that can go up there at will. Like, let's put it somewhere else, like right down here or something where we could have fought for it a little bit better. But so,
because it's scored by a specific HQ, right?
So it's scored. Yeah. So all right. So in Cut Off the Head, you nominate 3 of your characters, and you assign them an intel point, and then so at the end of turn 3, every character that you have that has every intel point that you still have on the field, you get a point from it, if that makes sense. So if I have all 3 of mine left, then I have 3 points. And then, and so he has 3 buried in his armor. Mine, so I picked my Plague Surgeon, which is this guy, my 2 Plague Surgeons, and then my Malignant Plague Caster, which is somewhere over here in this mess of green. And the reason I did that, and I almost went with some of my Demon Princes, but I did not, because I knew that I was going to be throwing my Demon Princes up, and I didn't want to risk having that decision of like, oh no, should I run my Demon Prince away to... so I can not give him or not get a point winner taken away from me. And so I did not. And, we still have Slay the Warlord, so I still would have lost a point if I lost my Warlord. However, it would have been 2 points essentially, and then having that, compound over the rest of the game. And then so the reason that's all important, because I know that he made his Warlord one of his intel carriers, and then the other 2 were safely buried back here, but his Warlord definitely was one, and that comes in play later. But yeah, so, and then at the end of turn, or at the beginning of turn 2, every intel point holder that is, so they're the intel point holders are the only people that can secure the objective, and for every one that you have securing the objective, if you control the objective, then you get a point for that, if that makes sense. So yeah, kind of a weird victory point situation, totally extremely to my advantage. I think the way things played out, we would have played longer. I don't know if it would have changed much about the outcome of the game, but yeah. All right, so at this point, it's kind of hard to see, but up here, he has a Burn-A-Bomber. And if you watch the last battle report, Kyle definitely messed me up with his Burn-A-Bombers.
It wasn't even a Burn-A-Bomber. That was just a Blitz-A-Bomber.
Oh, Blitz-A-Bomber. Oh, so this is the good one that you're talking about.
Yeah, this was way better.
Oh, yeah. So if you're not familiar with it, in his movement phase, if he flies over an enemy unit, which he did fly over this one like so. Then this unit right here, he gets to roll. You know what, Kyle, explain it, please.
So you roll 1d6 for every model in the unit.
Mm-hmm.
Burn-A-Bombers, they cause mortal wounds on a 5-up, unless it's an infantry, in which case it's a 4-up.
Yeah. So he flew over this unit and got to roll 7 dice, and he ended up killing 2 of them. Because if I remember correctly, I had this discussing resilience. Like it's huge having a 5-up feel no pain. I got to use that there. Whereas in our game, Kyle, I didn't have that, and it just completely messed me up. There's so many times where discussing resilience comes in for the win. Like you look at it, especially if you're a newer player, and you're like, oh, it's a 5-up, like big deal. But no, over the course of the game, something like that, it is completely. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, he did that, and at this point, I'm not. So my 2 flying demon princes are over here, but my plan was I was going to leave all of these units within the 24-inch range of the bolter gun. I was going to leave them still so they could get bolter discipline, and I was pretty confident that I was going to be able to take that sucker out. But anyways, so this little play going up here, and you could see Chris, he's definitely funneling down here.
Right.
But yeah, I know that I got the Burning Bomber down to 1 wound from the bolter flyer and from smiting from the psychers.
So you didn't move anything turn 1.
I did not move anything turn 1, and the reason I didn't, was because I wanted to try and smoke this Burning Bomber using bolter discipline, and then another reason too is I had this unit in cover, and so basically I wanted him to come to me.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted him, I knew that most of his stuff was going to be out of range.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have a reason to move up. Right. The objective wasn't even in play at this point for scoring. And I knew that he was nowhere close to getting up to it because he had this massive bastion to get up to go score it. So I knew that wasn't even I didn't even care about it, basically.
Right.
And I knew he was going to be coming to me. So I just sat back and waited for him.
Further up, turn 2, bombs you again.
Yep. You can see three dead here. And this is his turn, right? So I haven't had a chance to do anything about this yet. And the one thing I did move is this Plague Belcher last turn. I don't know why that wasn't there. But I ran him up so, to get the auto hits off the flyer. Yeah, no, pretty simple. At this point, I ran my Demon Prince up to where no one could see him. Yeah, I think he was safely tucked away back here.
Yeah.
And kind of hugging this crater. So if you're new to the game, usually, and this is kind of one of those things that could be house ruled, but normally how it goes is as long as all of the models in a unit are touching or on top. So either they're in the terrain piece, in the cover, or if their bases are just touching, they're counted as in cover. So that's why you see this sort of I eventually move into this crater, but I just advance these guys up to get them there because I didn't want to lose my, having that you have to shoot at me here because I'm closer than my demon princes and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, pretty simple here. I do see this Death Dread, it's a thing. And at this point too, I'm not certain as to what's going on with this army, because I'm thinking Orks, close combat, that's their thing, but they're shooting at me. I think this is my second game to play against 8th edition Orks ever.
Yeah.
And so I was a little, third game, but a little hesitant.
I'm surprised he kept that Squiggoth so far back. It's no chump in close combat.
Yeah, he, here's that, all right, two things I want to point out here that has nothing to do with tactics. This really cool model. So that's his Warlord. It's freaking awesome. I love that. And then also,
Big Mike on a bike.
Yeah. So I've never seen an army that is not completely painted look so good.
Yeah.
It's just you're looking at it oh man, it looks great. And then you look at oh wait, these dudes aren't even. They're just primed.
Yeah.
And props to Chris for throwing this army together real fast so he could come out and play on the channel.
Yeah.
But and then also this, I love this. If you didn't notice, that is a Gretchen silhouette, and the whole story that he came up with it was, a Gretchen that got blasted by a grenade that he dropped or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
Nice touch. All right, on with it. There's a little Imperial Fist. All right, so we're getting closer to that.
So you started mulching your Marines.
That moment, yes, yeah, he started getting there. He has wiped out a unit for sure. But so this is my right here. This is my Plague Surgeon. Still, all these guys benefiting from it, so that's great. And then At this point too, I am also kind of worried because I've got some demon princes close, but he just like completely bypassed half of my army, if not more. I'm just gonna go this way, and obviously he's in vehicles. The only vehicles I have is these guys, and the only guys I can move are these two right here. And so I'm like, oh crap, I got to get over, because if he can get up here and like charge all of these dudes and take this stuff out, and then if I get unlucky and lose even one of my demon princes, like he could just probably end up tabling me, maybe. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I'm just kind of moving all my guys over here, and then also too, something. So we mentioned the tank busters. So I focused all my plague burst crawlers. This is like turn 1 and turn 2. Focused all my plague burst crawlers onto the tank buster, or the tank buster truck. Yep. The very first turn they weren't in range, so it was like all on the second turn basically. Was able to kill it, and then he had I didn't know this. He had a truck that was empty. I think that's it was in this truck. He didn't have anything in there, so he just ran his dudes over, got in that truck, and kept on coming. I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Ha ha ha!" Yeah, I was like, "It's so cunning,
But brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal too. Yeah, so now I went from like feeling good, like, all right, got the tank busters, and now the tank busters are chilling right here, like within launch range of my vehicles and other things that I care about in my army. I'm like, man, how did this happen? We had a plan. So this game was just really straightforward. I've got my demon prince up here, claiming that objective.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in reserve at this point?
I know I deployed everything.
Okay. Because I'm just really puzzled as to why the Gretchen and the Squiggoth are hanging back.
I don't know about the Gretchen. I know that he's got a couple, his like 2 intel holders besides his Warlord are back here.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think maybe he was just like, I'll leave them back here just because they're slow, maybe. Like, I think that was probably more of the thought process. I know that he buried his 2 intel point people back here. I know that for a fact.
That makes more sense.
The Squiggoth, I think he had that in mind too, and I think he knew that my demon princes, 2 of them have wings, so they can move. Right. And then so he was shooting at my stuff with the Laba. At this point, the Laba and everything back here is out of range of my plague burst crawlers.
Yeah.
So that could have been his reasoning as well, because he was shooting the whole game with the Laba. But yeah, maybe it was just protection from Demon Prince coming over here and going rogue after his juicy intel point people.
Yeah, makes more sense then. Yeah, I did not realize those were over there. That's why I was like, what's going on with that picture? Yeah.
Yeah, and also too, at this point, I'm getting pretty worried because the Death Dread right here is getting real close to my Demon Prince, and this is after his movement, right? So he's going into this. He's about to charge, Yeah. I think the previous turn, I was able to knock a couple wounds off of the Death Dread with my Blight Launcher that was buried in this army here, or this squad. Yeah. But I'm totally worried about this thing coming around and just blasting my Demon Prince off the board, because he's so close. So let's get on with it. Here we go. So so it happened, right? Charge, got in there, and then he only got 3 wounds off of my Demon Prince, and I'm pretty sure at least a couple of those were due to discussing resilience. So, like, guys, I'm telling you, don't knock it. Like, it took... All right, so, little rant. It took me forever to realize the true value of Death Guard. Like, for freaking ever. I know that you know, Kyle, everyone is a saint because he got to listen to like my nonstop ranting after every one of our games with Iron Hands because I was so freaking angry because I felt the reason I wasn't mad because like I lost or anything. Like I was okay, whatever, there's a game, there's a 50-50 chance that you're probably going to freaking lose because, right? But I was upset because you would beat me so thoroughly, and I was, I didn't even feel like I had a chance. You know, it was like after turn 1, and that's kind of an Iron Hands thing, especially pre FAQ Iron Hands. You know, where it's just like you're just blowing things up, and then I try and shoot back at you, and I've got nothing. You know, and then I try and charge into you, and you have answers for that and stuff. But the strength of Death Guard is high toughness and disgusting resilience. I'm saying it again ad nauseum because several games now where I've trying to figure out, like, built a list thinking of that in mind, right? And it has been successful so far. So anyways, fought back. The Death Dread dies after this, so. And boom, there it is, the clincher. Does this move look familiar to you, Kyle?
A little bit.
Yeah. It makes me very happy that I got to do this again. So, jumped my Demon Prince. Guys, if you have stuff that has wings that can fly, like, remember that they don't move like normal people. Jumped him back here, and oh look, his Warlord. And
exposed there.
Yes, and so, and then again, you know, it was his Warlord. We have Slay the Warlord and one of his intel point guys. So that was a big deal for me to if I managed to take him off the board. I will say that Chris was, I think, just the same as I'm, like, not sure about his Orc stuff going on. I don't think he was quite sure about my Death Guard Demon Prince stuff going on.
No, this is not, like, in our local meta, this is not how Death Guard is normally played.
Is it not?
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, like, Demon Princes are brutal, especially against Orcs, you know? Like, Demon Princes of Nurgle, where you get the disgusting resilience, but also another Death Guard thing is my little Warlord build that I have, which is Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings, with Malefic Talons, with I give him the Tainted Regeneration Warlord trait so that he can regain a wound at the start of every player's turn. So that's 2 freaking wounds per battle round. Huge. And then Super Rating Plate, which you belovingly named the Stop Hitting Yourself plate, or Stop Hitting Yourself relic.
I think you claim I called it that, but
you
I never
did.
called it
No,
that.
you did. It was I don't think it was on tape, but you did. I'm holding on to it.
Well, then there's no evidence, is there?
It doesn't. Yeah, so you can't say that you didn't say it.
Fair.
Yeah. So, but the Super Rating Plate is huge, and if you watch the battle report, like, it did some work in this game, and it does work. Like, it's another thing about Death Guard that it all of their really good stuff, from my experience so far, is not really obvious. You know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe to really seasoned players that know how you know everything goes in the game, and they've seen several iterations of this, that, and the other. But for me, getting back into 40k and then falling into a Death Guard army essentially, it was not obvious to me. But that was another one of those things. So back here, I think he's feeling pretty good that he's got my Warlord kind of exposed back here. But I've totally got a little hammer and anvil action going on here.
Yeah, I feel like he's really bottlenecked there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else he could have done, because it's the layout of the board that's forcing it.
Yeah.
Other than divide his forces, but then he'd be dealing with more of your army. I don't know.
Yeah, tough. Well, I wonder if his list, and I haven't, like, really broken it down, and I haven't, like, seen it played very many times, so I don't truly understand it exactly. But yeah, if he could have had, like, he had his bomber come up here, and that's kind of different because it's a flyer. But, like, if he did maybe the Squiggoth and the Tankbusters or something that can hit hard, or maybe like the Squiggoth and the Grot tanks, like, up here, and then just drive home as a distraction or something.
Right.
that can maybe do some damage, and then have the rest of his force come here, then that would have put me in a much harder spot, I think. Especially since I put my winged ones down here, my winged demon princes, and my unwinged ones up here. So I have much less mobility over here.
Right.
But yeah, you'll definitely see like I'm able to just come down here to this bottom lane, and but at the same time, that's usually an orc strong suit if you can get everyone in the same hammer party and get a lot of dice rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so oh, here comes the other demon prince. Oh yeah, we're about to have some fun. So here's the tank busters. I'm really focusing on that because I want them not to be there. So I think at this point, so I charged both these demon princes into the Luda wagon, as Chris called it, the Looty wagon, and I didn't charge into the tank buster truck.
Right.
And I think that was a tactical oversight on my part. However, over here also, killed the Warlord, and that was great. But he's about to send everything over here. But down to 1. But at the start of his turn, I'm going to regain that back to 6 wounds. Coming in with that tainted regeneration. But yeah, no, I totally have 3 demon princes all up in his business right now.
Yeah.
It's a with an orc army that doesn't hit very hard. I think too, kind of what you mentioned, like the layout of this map really didn't do him very many favors.
Okay, so here we're getting into the next part. I don't like a decision he has here, and that's he didn't fall back with the wagon.
Mm.
He's a shooting army, and he didn't fall back. That really astounded me, really, because he's got all your demon princes right there. They're all the closest unit. He can target them now.
Right.
But he chose not to, and I'm really curious if he intended that,
mm-hmm.
or if maybe that was a mistake.
So I will say for sure on like in his defense at this point, because we had some distractions, or not distractions, we had some interruptions during the game, at quite a few, and so we're running really, really late, and I think the store at this point everyone's emptied out, and the owner is just like, hey guys, what's when you guys wrapping up? And we're like getting into the next turn, like yeah, maybe. So I will say, like, it was a late night, and this thing was going on way longer than I think both of us wanted or expected. So I do think that definitely played a part. I also will say I think him losing his Warlord, like, I think it kind of flustered him a little bit. And I just want to say too, like, the point of the tactical overviews is this is not to, Chris isn't here to defend himself, right? Or to explain what he was thinking. However, this is to learn from. All right. So this is not like bad on Chris. Is a great player, right? And Chris.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't remember the last time I won against him. Jeez.
Right. This is probably an abnormality for him, that the one that made it onto tape, But I will say too, like, if you guys watch the next video that's going to be coming out, the next battle report, I'm going to be getting all up in my own business about all the mistakes I made in that game. So like, it's okay. We're not just crapping on Chris because he's not here.
No, if anything, I'm like just wondering aloud, like, man, why did he do this? Because I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I just wanted to really bring that home for the audience. But yeah, so there's a lot of things going on, but I really think him losing his Warlord, that happened. And at this point too, I'm really worried now, like,
yeah, you're deep in it.
Yes, that was a decision that I was like, before I did it, it was just like one of those, like, all right, do I go big or go home this, or do I play this more conservatively? It was back and forth. I was like, all right, screw it, let's do it. you know, like it worked against your weird boy. You know, I was like very happy with that in our game, which I feel like I completely lucked out with walking away with that game. How all that went down, and so I was not like, oh my gosh, this is exactly the trap that I set for him. The whole, you know, no, this was me being like, oh, the Warlord is right here. I could totally. Do I? Yes, do it, kill. You know, and I just went for it. And so at this point now, I'm like, oh crap. You know, he's bringing his Squiggoth. He is within charge range, you know, and Orks, they have charge things. You know, they can re-roll their charge rolls 1 or 2 dice. Like they have the choice, you know, which is huge because that's one of those subtleties that you don't realize is as good, that you could easily, if you think about it, you realize it's good, but you could easily just pass over that in the rule book as you're like combing through the codex or something, or combing through Battlescribe and not realize like, oh wait, so if I roll 2 dice and I get a 6 and I have a 1 and my charge range is, you know, I need a 7. I don't have to re-roll both of those and then roll 2 2s, you know, like I
already got the 7.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Bad example. 8. But yeah, no, like it's huge. And so I'm like, oh man. So he's bringing this big boy in, get him in there. And then, the squig truck thingy. And, let's see, some Gretchen. And then what else did he bring in here? Oh, Pain Boy. Right. Pain Boy. And, yeah. So, and then also here, Tank Busters coming into play. They're lining up, skirting right around my Demon Prince, and I'm not at this point. I'm not really not that worried about because my Demon Prince is my main focus, my main effort of this army is committed right now, and they're gonna bypass them. I really wasn't worried about these guys. All right, maybe I lose 1, right?
Yeah.
If he gets really, really lucky, 2. But they're not for points in this game, for 1. And then at this point, they didn't really do anything for me, honestly. Like they took out that 1 truck that ended up being useless because the Tank Busters are still here. So right now they're just there, you know. So I'm not too worried about it at this point. But he's threatening my backfield. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the damage from the Burning Bomb blowing up, and then his Tank Bust is coming in. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop it here and talk about it because at this point, after this turn, Chris called it because I took out his Warlord. That was one of his intel points. I had 3 Demon Princes left. What happened in this engagement over here is he fought with the Boyz over here first. Fought with the Boyz first, and I was thinking he was expecting, you know, the volume of attacks to do a lot. He didn't kill the Demon Prince. I spent 2 CP to interrupt. And then I killed his Pain Boy with the Power Claw before he had a chance to do anything. That was the one thing I was really worried about. And
what
then
happened to the Rocket Truck? I thought that was about to come in too.
Yeah, he got it in, and then he wasn't able to kill my Demon Prince.
Right.
And so basically, these 2 Demon Princes mopped up that battle wagon, and I can. He at this point he's lost a lot of. He really was depending on getting my Warlord Demon Prince.
Yeah,
and that didn't happen, and also he realized too, like even if he kills these Demon Princes, like he gets 1 point for Warlord, slaying the Warlord here. All right, cool. Even if he kills these 2, or if I realize at some point that this doesn't favor me, I can take this Demon Prince and just run him up to the top. And then just play out the clock and score points. And also,
you're already scoring more points than he is.
Yeah, exactly too, because I took out the Warlord that was his intel point holder, and then he can take out one of my intel point holders right here, this Plague Surgeon, but my other two, my Malignant Plaguecaster, which I'm in the process of like advancing up the Bastion to go hold that objective so that my Demon Princes can do, their thing down here.
Yeah.
And then my other intel point right here. So I still have a lot of things, like he can get this one easily enough, but these two over here, right? So he could even the score, the scoring capability, if you will, but I'm already ahead. I will be in position to seize back the objective and just start scoring points. So yeah, at this point, he just realizes like it's not going to work out just time wise. Like he could kill all my stuff basically, reasonably. Everything that he can kill, he could kill all of it and get super lucky and still completely lose the game by points.
Right.
And so and again, this is not like super mastermind moment for me. We should have put the commit. We should have put the objective down here for sure. Like that was not a cool move by me. It wasn't a move by me. It was just by omission, Yeah. I really felt bad after that. I was like, man, I could have like the power. Chris is a nice guy. Like he's not going to ask. He's gonna be like, oh, well, that's just how the cards were dealt. Like, no, man. No, dude. Like, why are we even playing if you don't even have a chance to win this game? So, and another tip, like if you feel like something's really outweighed, like really broken against you in this game, in a game, then like just talk about it. If it's like pretty egregious, then your opponent should be a gentleman and be like, you know what? You're right. And it's more important.
They're not worth playing with then.
Exactly. Hey, don't play with this guy ever again. And it's like if you think that it's more worth it to just win the game rather than just if you approach 40K with all you care about is winning, then you're gonna cheat. You're gonna do like all these like shady, freaking stupid stuff because all you care about is winning the game. But if your main concern is being good at the game and having a good game, having a good time, then that's a no-brainer decision. Rather, like, oh yeah, dude, no, totally. Like, let's put it down and where we can both get at it because that obviously makes sense. Like, I don't want to win the freaking game just because of some fluke that you decided to put this massive bastion in the center of the table because it looked really cool.
Right. Yeah.
And again, like I said, it was a long day. I was really tired, and I just didn't even think about it. I didn't really think like just how. Oh, and you know what it was? I think it was that I didn't realize that he didn't have a weird boy, so he couldn't do to jump.
Yeah, you're so used to my jumping around.
Yes, yeah, you always have that, and I love the weird boy, and I love that power, Yeah. So I think that's why I didn't really stop and think about it, because I just has experienced orcs getting flown about the battlefield wherever they want so many times, So, but anyways, all that to say, don't be a douche, be a cool guy, not like Patrick. Thanks for joining us, and hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys could glean some information, some knowledge from this word vomit that just happened. And like I said again, like this is the timing of this video when it was played, and by the time that we're doing this, kind of affected the quality of our feedback and our critique. Going to be able to go into it really. So we apologize for that. And but yeah, no. Hope you guys enjoy these tactical overviews. Let us know what you guys think about it. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. And really excited for the next video. So if you're still here, freaking wait for the next video. It's going to be great because you're going to see me fall flat on my face. All right, Kyle.
Patrick.
Have a good night, everyone.